the earlier podcast, I had informed as to how the Sanatana Dharma was present in the Middle East and how evidences suggest the first empire of the Middle East, which preceded the Sumerians, Akkadians, and Hittites, were that of Sri Rama of Valmiki Ramayana. When one tries to understand the civilizations present around the world, one comes across certain information which, in my opinion, and which my research indicates, invariably links to the Sanatana Dharma, which had sprung from India. Now look at these facts which we have covered in the last 5 podcasts. Number 1, the first Parava had the Vaishnava marks over his forehead and the part of his body. And number 2, names of Rama, Bharata, and Dasratha. Dasratha was called Trushata in Sumerian king's list. And the third, in the treaty signed between the Hittites and Sumerians, the Vedic gods Varuna, Mitra, and Ashwins are mentioned as witnesses. Number 4, there is a temple dedicated to Sri Rama in Ur. It dates back to Ubaid civilizations, and this is mentioned in the Bible. In the Bible, it is mentioned that it was founded by the chapel was dedicated to one who founded the city of Uru, U-R-U. When scholars disputed this, they had also suggested an alternate city where Abraham's home was located. The name of the city near where Abraham's home was located is mentioned was Haran, Harran, and near that was another town called Uru. In this connection, the term Uru, Uru, means town in ancient language of India, Tamil, and this has a close connection with the Akkadian civilization which coexisted with the Sumerian civilization. There were now to additional information on the presence of Sanatana Dharma and Hinduism and Hindu kings in the Middle East. There were 3 civilizations, as it were. The earlier one was the Ubaid presence. Though it was not a very advanced civilization, it was present. It was a transitional period from the lower Paleolithic age, that is a New Stone Age, to civilizational period. That was the period where the Ur discovery was found, and where the remains of a chapel dedicated to Rama was found, and this is located in the modern day Iraq. The second civilization was Sumerians, which, as I said earlier, contained the name of Rama, Dasratha, and Bharata as kings of Sumeria. And the third civilization was the Akkadians. Akkadians, they have a city of Yellu in Tamil language means same seed. And there was remains of Naram Sin. The Naram Sin is the Narasimha of Hindu Puranas and avatar of Vishnu. Now coming back to the present issue, that is of Egypt. Egypt, the English name Egypt is derived from the ancient Greek Aegyptos via the Middle French Egypte and Latin Aegyptus. It is reflected in the early Greek linear B tablets at Copitio Aegypti. The Greek forms were borrowed from late Egyptian Amarna, Ecupta, Memphis, a corruption of the earlier Egyptian name. The term the Kubd, home of the meaning, means home of the Ka, that is the soul of the Ptah, PTH, the name of a temple to the god Ptah at Memphis. A close study of the derivative of the term Egypt, one has to look at the spread of history. The grandfather of Lord Rama was Aja. Aja, that is Dasaratha's father. He was a very, very successful king who led many expeditions towards the Middle East. Prior to that, we had Raghu, after whom the Harivamsa was written. He was also a very successful king of Ikshvaku solar dynasty. The term Aja is used to denote Egypt in those earlier days in memory of the conquest of Egypt by Aja. So, we find the reference of Egypt in Indian texts after Aja, grandfather of Sri Rama. More to follow in these podcasts, and one can also look at the following evidences. See, when one looks at all the evidence in totality, each evidence may look fragments, but when you look at it in totality, one will be able to see a pattern, and it would confirm our finding that Hinduism was present in the Middle East. I'll be following up the presence of Shiva temple in Petra, Jordan, and the reference in Sumerian text that Rama ruled Mesopotamia for 60 years, the presence of Lakshmi in Pompeii, Italy, and more to follow in the following podcast.